Next, what do you think about drum set replicas? And by that I mean copying a well-known drummer's setup piece by piece. Examples would be Neil Peart, Buddy Rich, oh my God, John Bonham.
Sure.
You know.
Well, we're in the kind of the same territory.
Yeah.
It's kind of sort of. I really if you were doing a cover band, then that to me is the exclusive pass for sure, right? I mean, if you're doing, I don't know, what's an old band that I don't know much. Dream Theater. I know it's specific songs, mega drum set, whatever. I don't know any Dream Theater songs, but like
for the Dream Theater cover bands that are out there, Jesus.
Well, I feel like Rush is probably the best example of people
Led
who
Zeppelin,
like Led Zeppelin for sure,
AC/DC, all that stuff.
And if you're playing the parts and they're supposed to be accurate to how they sounded on an album, then yeah, you got to replicate the whole kit. I totally understand that. But outside of that, if you're trying to like have some sort of personal musical identity, your own personal musical expression, and you think that the best voice for you to do that with was someone else's voice, by voice I mean kit, I disagree. I really don't think... I think it's a forfeiture of your individuality. That's what I think it is. And keep in mind, there are phases growing up where you'll do that because you just don't know what else to do. So for example, I definitely mimicked Travis Barker's entire setup when I was 16 because I didn't know how this drum set was supposed to be set up. He was one of my bigger influences at that time. I thought it looked cool, and I thought, man, I'll set my kit up this way. That's perfectly normal behavior when you're early on in drums. I mean, what else are you supposed to do, right? You don't have your musical identity dialed in just yet. You don't know what kind of drummer you're going to be. You haven't learned all of the mannerisms that you're going to use to express yourself, so you might not know how high your ride should go or what angle your snare should be. And as your interests sort of take shape and your skill sets kind of emerge as you go on the adventure that it is to play drums, you start to fine tune those things, and you eventually, hopefully, dial in this customized voice, which is your drum set, and all of the angles and depths and heights and tunings and heads and textures and woods, and all of that stuff ends up helping you paint the picture that you want to paint. But I really don't like the idea of going through that process, mimicking a lot of other people's kit setups, their voices, and then just settling on that. To me, that feels like, again, it's a forfeiture of your own musical identity. I want to hear what you have to say, and I want to hear it on a drum set that you have designed, right? I want to hear the snare tuning that you like, and I want to hear that against whatever size rack tom you want. I want to see where you place it. And, I remember one time, this was years ago, when Luke Holland was over at the old studio, and he came and he sat on my kit, and he said, "Is this exactly how you play your drum set?" He's like, "Did you change anything knowing I was coming here?" And I was like, "No, that's exactly what it is. Like everything, like to the inch, that's how I play it." And he was like, "Man," he's like, "I love doing this, like sitting in someone's seat and looking at every single detail of their kit setup and like all these little different decisions that we get to make, And he pointed out a couple things. He was like, "Dude, your hi-hat is so close to your snare." He's like, "I would never play it that way. For me, it's like a foot to the left." And different angles of crashes, and we had a long discussion about like some of these little subtle differences that you find between different people's, personalized setups. But again, you don't have any of those personality distinctions if we're all just copying people's drum sets from another time. So my answer would be, it's a phase. If you're young, that's okay. That's part of the deal. It's how you learn. But I would hope that we graduate to some point of musical identity, right? You're supposed to be honing in on your own personalized setup. And by the time you're, I don't know, let's just say 10 years into playing drums, I sure hope you're not copying someone's exact replica of a setup. I hope that's not the case. So yeah, I would say early on it gets an accent, but for the most part, if we're talking about mature seasoned musicians, hard ghost. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's a forfeiture of who you are. Thank you for watching this clip from the Orlando Drummer Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're looking for more content like this, ranging from masterclasses to in-depth courses to rudiments, grooves, fills, interviews with pro drummers, everything you can imagine, I've got all of that waiting for you at the link in the description. Click on orlandodrummer.com and start your free 7-day trial to see what's inside. I promise you will find something you like, and I will see you guys there.